hot head. I keep a burner phone that can stop fast. Plus I keep a burner on me that can pop lead. Clumsy paw barrel, you can drop dead. I'm a hothead, got a temper, please don't fuck with me. Anger problems, mental issues, I might bust you G. Don't fuck around with my team or you gon' see about me. Cause I'ma show you on my door that's been let off the leash.
I've been down on my ass, I've been down bad. I've been tripping on these bitches like a clown ass. I've been sipping on this liquor out this brown bag. If these bitches snitching, listen, I am out of town, man. I've been smoking weed, I've been sipping lean. Got some weed in my system mixed with some nicotine.
I've been smoking weed, I've been sipping lean.
Trying to get my dick sucked in a limousine. I've been making rash decisions and I practice bad religion. Where I'm at, the 12 come through, the lookers clap the pigeons. Man, I wish I had it different growing up. Know that I'm living homeless, man, that did it. What you know about ambition, bitch? Huh?
What you know about life? What you know about the struggle? What you know about growing up in a bad environment, struggling? Crabs all in a bucket. They don't wanna see you make it. Guess it's true what they say that misery loves company lately. And I've been drowning in liquor, losing all of my temper, trying not to go crazy, facing all of my demons. Got that Glock right beside me. People wanna go test me. They don't wanna see me make it. They just wanna see me drown. Told them I'ma go hard, right off of that paint. Let them know where I stand, under God's grace. I ain't never gonna move, I ain't never gonna trip. Let them all just rush in, you know I got the grip. Glock 9 by my side, let them know how I ride. I ain't never gonna stop, gotta go get my shine. You already know the deal, I'ma keep it 100. Y'all haters gon' hate, yeah, but you know I'm living lovely.
I'm a hothead, got a temper, please don't fuck with me. Anger problems, mental issues, I might bust you G. Don't fuck around with my team or you gon' see about me. Cause I'ma show you on my door that's been let off the leash.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Cody Live Podcast. Tonight is going to be a good one. We're going to talk about show promotion tonight with the panel. First, I'll introduce, actually, he's not here yet. He's not in the little lobby that we got for the stream yet. We got Scum joining the show tonight. You guys might be familiar. He's an Underground Legend. And, I mean, I seen him live. I met him out in Cleveland. Literally did a shot of Jaeger with him, and we exchanged numbers. He was that fucking cool. So we'll get to the rest of the cast right now. We're going to introduce them. A couple of familiar faces tonight on the show. We'll start with one really familiar face. He's going to be performing with me on T. Jackson's show April 29th in Toledo at the Polish Ostrich. Jake Gibson, how you doing? Jesus Christ. Jeez.
What's up, everybody? This is
my
name is Jacob, and I make noises. And
that was a fail.
Yeah, dude. Fail. You want to know what a fail is? Is when I do an inward snare and I suck saliva down into my lung, and my whole set's done. Just hacking my way off stage.
That would fucking suck. Next, we're gonna bring the co-host of the show. We got DJ The Ha in the house. How's it going, huh? You guys got quite the fucking intros tonight. You guys playing this shit? You got a show coming up too, don't you? The rave thing on Adrian, ain't it?
I do. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, hey, it depends on what time zone you're in. It might be good morning, it might be good night, it might be good afternoon. Who knows? Yeah, next Saturday I'm playing in Adrian at the Adrian Armory. It's a brand new thing. It's been in the works for a couple months now, so I had to kind of keep it on the DL. But it's it's an attempt to bring a large scale production, like EDM production, to the small town of Adrian. So basically to migrate the big city vibes into the smaller communities and see what happens.
That's what it's all about. That's what we've been trying to do. Our autograph signing. I don't know if you guys watched the cast last night, the sports cast. That was fucking awesome.
Yes, it was. Hey, that Doug guy and that other dude, can't remember his name, but they seem pretty down to earth.
Yes, they came out to Hudson with Roman that day, and they were very, very professional. And I also learned that they promote music on college campuses, so we're kind of working together on that a little bit. So
nice.
Hopefully, open the door up. It'd be kind of sweet. We've been talking a little bit about it, but we'll introduce our next guest. He's a familiar face. Also, you'll know him if you don't know him from his own music. You'll know him from a feature of mine. He was on Deadshot. We're gonna shoot a video for that soon, by the way. We just gotta get everything organized. BBG in the motherfucking building. How's it going?
Yo. What's up, guys, man? BBG representing Shallow Grave as always, man. Hope you guys are doing good.
All right. Okay. So the topic is show promotion tonight. My cousin just joined in. We had a discrepancy during the week this week on a status. And he comments, he says, offering my venue for performances, $3,000 to perform, and you leave broke.
That's saucy.
We went back and forth on that shit for a minute, and I was like, bro, stop. Don't do this to me.
Are you talking about the one that I kind of got involved in?
Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. God damn, bro, no.
Like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, that dude has like, I know he's like somehow related to Cody, but that dude has absolutely no fucking idea what he's talking about. No clue.
I think he was just trolling, to be honest.
No, it's a funny thing. We talked afterwards and shit, and he kind of, I guess I misunderstood a little bit. He misunderstood a little bit, so whatever. It is what it is. Like you said, I'll still have a beer with you. Yeah, tonight we're gonna talk about show promotion. I'm waiting on Scum to text me back right now. I told him around 8:15. He said he's gonna pop in for at least 30 minutes tonight. So we'll get her going. Actually, we'll start. What that whole status was fucked. Lucas Cadu said that whole status was fucked.
Sounds about right.
That was a straight clusterfuck. But I guess this could be an informative thing towards him. How I know Chad's the only one that's really thrown shows. As far as I don't think you guys really. Jake has a little bit. He's got his feet wet in a little bit. BBG, you haven't thrown nothing yet, though, have you?
Not anything where we're headlining per se, but eventually.
Hey, dude, are you sure you're talking about me?
Huh?
Are you sure you're talking about me?
What?
About you so booking confused. Shows?
Oh yeah, you book. No, I said you're booking. You book shows. You're the only other one that's really like. Jake's got his feet wet a little bit, but
no,
I've never booked a show.
You've never, but you've helped promote it at least.
Well, I'll share stuff. But
okay. I'm just trying to get like the background.
I do not consider myself to be any kind of a promoter, even an honorary one. Like, yeah,
give yourself a little bit of credit. Damn.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jake. I mean, the minute you hit that enter button after saying, "Hey, I'm playing at XYZ," that's a promoter right there.
Okay, fine. If you want to just like hand me a title on a silver platter, then fine. But
he's like, it sounds like he doesn't even really want it.
I gotta earn it.
Take that shit to Goodwill. I don't want it. Right. No, I guess we'll start with Jake. As far as that status, I don't know if you really read it. But I guess I kind of see where he was going after I talked to him about it, and we're not basing the show off that. But it's kind of something that we could discuss and inform, and somebody who may not know can know from different artist perspectives. See what I'm saying? I mean, his main thing in the end was an artist should have, or the venue should make money off the show. How do you think that should be split?
Me?
Yes. We'll start with you.
Well, I think that's more. It seems like from what I've been a part of, more of a prearranged agreement with the artist. Like I usually consider that type of thing to where you're going to give the artist a certain rate or whatever to perform at a show. It's obviously not like that all the time, but I don't know. I feel like that should be discussed beforehand.
Right.
Usually. Because it's going to be.
How do you think? I guess I could rephrase it. How do you think the bar or venue per se? How do you think they should make their money off that? Should it be like an upfront thing? I know it's all different, but what would be your preference as a promoter? Would you rather pay the bar up front to rent it out, or tell them, hey, you get the bar, I get the door, 50-50? What would be your preference as a promoter? I know you've never really been in those shoes, but from an perspective, if you were to throw something.
Usually, well, it's not usually. A lot of places I've seen have like a rate to rent the place out. Mm-hmm. And then, if you're throwing a party, people are going to come in and buy stuff, and they'll make money off of that, like drinks and whatever. Right. So that's the only one I'm familiar with, and it seems to be pretty fair in my brain.
So it's just like 100% door, and then how would the bar work on top of that? It's kind of like where the other side comes in, I guess. BBG, how would you figure? You know what I'm saying? What is your ideal if you were booking a show? What is your ideal split between the venue and you? Should it be an upfront cost? What would you prefer in that situation?
If I have to drop my opinion on that, I would rather have the venue do a upfront cost. Oh, obviously, because the point is to have that money, cash in hand, ready, and then everything else comes back to us anyways, aside from whatever they may buy at the venue, drinks or other food, other stuff that's going on. But as far as like all the ticket sales and stuff, that would be, I think, most important for the artist to get. So I say like an upfront payment would be best.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure.
What about you, Chad?
Oh God.
That's a tough one. It's more preference than anything.
Like I've done multiple ways, but like if you can find a bar or a venue that is willing to split the bar sales with you, dude, you're gonna have the gift of gab. Because I honestly don't think I've ever come across a bar owner or a venue owner that has been willing to split the alcohol sales. Because I don't know how it is in Indiana, Ohio, or anywhere else, but like here in Michigan, it's actually illegal. So,
really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Let's do it.
Sounds like we're going through some dark web sales here.
Dude, I'll open up the Onion or .onion or whatever.
It'll be a Silk Road transaction. Don't worry about it.
Jesus Christ!
I'll open up Tor. We'll get this going.
Yep, run it.
That is funny. But so in the past, I've had to rent out venues. But then the agreement usually is that whatever comes through the door comes back to me.
Right.
But then most generally it's more like, hey, either you play. It's either I get the door money, or and then whatever comes through the door is then split equally amongst everybody. Right. Like me as a promoter, I do not. I don't take like an extra percentage or whatever for putting the show on, because quite frankly, you build community by working together, not by having some jackass on the top saying, hey, I'm taking 50% and then the rest of it is getting split. Right. Granted, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but here lately, the deals I've been getting at the few places I do play is like a flat fee plus, a certain percentage of the door.
Right. We got a comment. I can't see the comment, so I don't know what it is. So is that not standard that ticket sales go to the artist? No. Most of the time, what happens is, in most circumstances, I'm not saying all, because I think people like Chad, people like me, people like Alex, who are throwing shows right now, the artists are getting paid. A lot of the time in hip hop, artists do not get paid. They're paying to be on that show anymore, which is fucked up.
It's bullshit.
See, that's where I kind of draw the line on it, because I've been told by multiple people, and I'm sure we'll ask Scum when he gets on here about his come up and how many shows he paid to get on, because it's just not. It shouldn't be a thing, and it's becoming more common, especially I'm hearing in the Detroit scene. Most of the time, the artists don't walk out with shit. Merch money. If they got ASCAP and BMI, they can make money off that show. I've been talking to Jacob. Well, I talked to Jake, I think, like a week ago about that, getting the ASCAP and BMI, because you will get show money off of that, and you will get benefits off of it that help. But ultimately, you don't make shit. The promoter usually walks away with everything. Not everything, but you know what I'm saying? As far as what you get off the show, that promoter normally is the only one that fucking takes the cut, and they leave everybody else dry, which is something we're here to kind of change.
I mean, I'm going to interrupt really quick, if you don't mind. So I'm going to take this to a whole nother level. Okay. Like, let's look at Live Nation, for example. So Live Nation, let's say they book, I'm going to use a rock band like Shinedown, for example. I mean, everybody's heard of Shinedown one way or another. You may not like them, but I mean, they've been around for a long time, and like they bring 10 to 15 to 20,000 people everywhere they go and play. So they pay, let's say Shinedown, let's say $100,000. Okay. Right. So, but like, if you really study like Live Nation, they own most of the venues, or they have agreements in place that they manage the venues. So that means that, how they're going to get their money back is not necessarily off of ticket sales, because usually the ticket sales are just enough to cover the band. So where they make their money is really off of like all the alcohol sales. Hence the reason why you're paying like $14 a beer at like Pine or whatever. Yeah, which is insane. But out of that money, though, they also have to pay like all the security, the sound guy,
Most of the time, honestly, like,
unless I don't agree with $14 beers, but
right. But most of the time, even breaking even is hard. Like, if you actually put in the promo and the groundwork, getting the flyers. I mean, me and Jason personally just ran an event together. I think we spent like $300 on fucking flyers. Mm-hmm. So you got to make that $300 back. And at the end of the day, you really don't. Especially with most of the bars nowadays. I mean, I can name a couple, like Flats. Flats will pay you right. At the end of the night, you're gonna get something from them. They don't do a door charge, but you're gonna get money for it, for your performance and your time. And then, the promoter gets the money. And then the promoter up there, obviously we know him at the show, Alex, for most of the shows up there. He distributes everything evenly, but that's not common. That's not common, especially in hip hop. Most of the time you're doing the shit for free, like I said. And then you're kind of walking out like, if you don't have any merch sales, or you're performing for, Joey Crack, whose cousin fucking showed up. Luckily, because otherwise you're performing for all performers, which I've been to a million of those in my early years. You really don't gain shit. No. So it's kind of a picky, choosy thing as to what shows you want to do for free at some points. Like, a lot of the shows just you don't make much. Going back to the original topic, kind of my opinion on shit, I'm not a big fan of paying for the venue up front. The reason being is there's a lot of places out there, especially if the venue sells alcohol. I can name like the Morenci Legion, which it isn't like a huge accomplishment. It's just local shit. But they had a record bar night at one of my nights. So those guys fucking banked. Plus, you know what I'm saying? They charge, at the time I wasn't a member, so I was paying $300 up front. They banked off that also. So then I got to the point where, hey, we got to come to some kind of, you guys are profiting off this way more than I am. You know what I'm saying? So you got to come to some kind of fucking agreement. The 100% door sounds high and mighty, but You know, not many people are paying when your capacity is only 125. People aren't paying. You know, they're not going to pay fucking $15 at the door for you to make anything, your time back, anything. That's why I don't like renting per se. But like Hillsdale will just give you the fucking cash box. At the end of the night, it's yours. That's what I prefer. And then you keep your bar sales because you're making a killing off that bar, especially at rap shows. Motherfuckers get drunk as shit at rap shows.
This is true. This is very true.
I'm one of them. So it's almost like a robbery. In the end, it's cool that you let me use your venue. Thank you for that. But in the end, you're fucking banking because how much you're actually making off every fucking shot. You know, the percentage that you're actually making times how many are you giving out a night? You know, some people are taking 10 shots.
It adds up quick.
Being a bar owner is, I mean, and the only reason why I know this is because I helped run the Underground for almost 3 years, and I had a lot of money wrapped up in that bar. It is like, to be a bar owner is a privilege, especially here in Michigan, because those licenses are very hard to come by. And they are very, very expensive. I mean, depending on what area you're in. Like here in Hillsdale, my hick town, we're only allowed 8 bars total within the city. Yeah, and that is regulated by by the government. So like, if you can come across a license or there's one up for sale, I mean, there's dudes out there or gals out there that are willing to drop $250,000 on it because they know. Because they know they're going to make their money in the long run. Because the bar business is set up for you to make money,
right?
You know, and the four of us know it doesn't cost $60 for a big bottle of Fireball, but that's how much they're going to make off of one bottle,
right?
And quite honestly, to run a bar is really not that expensive because like the bar staff, they're usually, I don't want to say it like this, but it's the reality. The bar staff's usually minimum wage, like a waitress. They're paid like a waitress, so they make their money off of tips. So you really don't have any expenses on the bartender per se. You might have a bar like a dude that's running in the background, restocking stuff, taking care of the garbage and all that. That guy is probably going to make like $10 an hour, And if you're only open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5-6 hours, there's not a whole lot wrapped up in that. And then you're going to pay your security guys, 2 or 3 or however many you have for whatever event you got going on. You're going to pay them like maybe $30-$40 at the end of the night, plus maybe a tip out of some sort. Right. I mean, and the electricity and water and whatnot that you're going to spend, it ain't shit.
Right.
Unless you open, 12, 14, 16 hours a day.
Right.
And then it adds up. But most of the venues that we're talking about, like concert venues or halls or bars that have live entertainment, most generally they're not open during the week.
Right. Right.
They're designed to draw large crowds.
Right. Right. And that's some of the. One sec. I just gotta.
It's amazing how overpriced alcohol can create like the hub for a community.
Really. Oh, yeah. You guys are going to have to excuse me. I'm going to be in and out because I've got super bad food poisoning, and I think you guys know how that goes. Yeah, but I'll be back. I'll be in and out and stuff, so you'll have to excuse me.
I'll pray for you.
Oh, shit, dude. I had food poisoning 2 days in a row from undercooked eggs.
Oh. Man, them eggs get you every time, man.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the Gordon Ramsay thing. Go lift it off the heat and have it cook. The heat's in there, you can't be having it on the heat, on the flame and all that. I was trying to do that, and I didn't do it right. To think about it.
Speaking of eggs, didn't T-Jax just have an issue with eggs?
He went to some shit restaurant out in Toledo for some reason that he knew was fucking shit. ended up getting food poisoning. I think it's like a thing on the show now. You just fucking get food poisoning. Just come on. I just got a message from Scum. He said he is on the phone and he's going to join as soon as he's done. So I know he said he had tour planning and stuff. He has a tour coming up with God damn it, I can't think of it. I can't put the fucking. I gotta look it up because it's gonna bug me now. He actually has a tour coming up with one member of Psychopathic. I know DJ Clay's on it.
Yep.
As well as God damn it, what's the other dude's name? I don't pay attention too much to Psychopathic. I'm not huge on Psychopathic records, but it's no hate. I just don't listen too much. It's not my style. He actually has a tour coming up though. Let's see here. God damn it. Oh, it's a Big Hoodoo. Scum, DJ Clay, and Light are going on tour coming up. They got a bunch of freaking dates on here. That starts in 3 weeks, so he's kind of busy attending with that also. But he said he would join in for about 30 minutes tonight at least, just to kind of discuss some of the show promotion. Like I said, I met him out in Cleveland at Shadows. Jinx opened for him that night. Really cool guy, and he knows his shit. Like, this dude's been touring forever. I think he has, 55,000 followers on Facebook. Just constantly on the road. Trying to actually bring him out here.
Dude, that last Hillsdale show we played, the outfit, the Slayer outfit that Jinx was wearing was so bomb, dude.
Yes, it was badass. His sets have gotten like progressively better every time he's played. I remember when that dude, he was shaking in his boots, it seemed like, one of the first shows that we did. And I'm like, dude, just loosen up. You're good for the type of music you need. Loosen up.
You gotta let it happen, man. Just let it move with you. You gotta let it in your soul.
Like, bro, just loosen up. You got this. You're fine.
You got to get some old dude with a Strat to come in and like, when we came on down to the blues bars, when we started playing out there with Hinky Dinky and Robert Johnson, you couldn't let it just stiff you up. You had to loosen up, getting on the stage there with your guitar. Mm-hmm.
Hinky Dinky. That's gonna be the name of my next fucking band, Hinky Dinky, just because of you.
Hinky Dinky and Buddy Guy.
Is that a real thing, Hinky Dinky?
It can be. You can make it.
I like what you did there.
Speaking of blues, if you guys are into blues or blues guitar players, go check out the latest and greatest album from Larry McRae. He's from the Flint Saginaw area. The dude is a phenomenal guitar player. He's been around forever.
If you're a left-hander guitar player, check out Albert King for sure. That dude, I mean, everybody's like, oh, Hendrix played upside down. Albert King actually played upside down.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
You said Larry McRae? I'm going to write that down.
Yep. Actually, I booked him. He played in Hillsdale before, actually, a couple of times, actually.
There's another name I want to bring out there. I hit you up about it the other day, and I think it would go over well. It's just getting that old school audience in there, because I just don't. The thing that I never got the feel for out there is there's really no I don't got the feel for it as far as what genre would do well, It's tough.
It is really tough. I can tell you that country bands always do well here.
Yeah.
Because it's Hillsdale. And then, rock, not so much, but metal is really big.
Metal?
Yeah, metal has always worked. And then, with the newer generation, like with the ones that are really coming out to shows now, it's got to be the hip hop and the EDM stuff. And it's just a matter of building it. Matter of fact, I just had a conversation with a couple dudes about building it. Building the community. It's like it doesn't just happen. You can't just book a show and expect first time around to get 100 people. I mean, if you get 20 the first time, that should be your benchmark for the next one. And then plan on 20 but hope for 50. And just keep building it. And it takes time. It goes back to to I think one of the very first episodes that we've ever had on this Cody show is you know, don't give up. You know,
Right.
just keep busting it. You got to keep going, and keep pushing, and you know, anything that is worth fighting for is going to take time.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
very true.
I just read a tweet earlier. It was kind of, I think it was a throwback from like 2011, 2012 on Twitter. It was a J. Cole tweet. He's like, I'm at 800 followers. I'm really thankful. Hopefully we get there someday. And then they had a picture underneath it of him in front of this big ass festival crowd with their hands in the air. And it's like, yeah, it's all consistency.
Yep.
And that's what I've been getting preached at to me a lot lately about consistency and just staying on your fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Because about the time you learn
I'm really bad at it right now.
Mm.
You know, life. You know,
Life
wife,
gets in the way.
kids, work, like, you know, the day job, and then now I got wedding season.
Ooh, busy man.
Time for
wedding season.
Yeah, I know. That's where the money's at. You know,
right.
I mean, I'd rather play all my original stuff for sure. But you know, when you can go work for 8 hours and make anywhere from $800 to $1,000,
right? I feel it. Well, we got our special guest in here tonight. He just popped into the lobby. This is an underground legend, y'all. Met him in Cleveland over last summer, I believe. Had a couple of Jaeger bombs and exchanged numbers and shit. Really cool freaking guy too. I'll applaud him. He stood up, like he was literally up front row for every performance that night. And that's something that you did not see a touring artist do. We're going to bring him on. It's Scum, everybody.
Yo, what up?
Hey, what's up, man? Привет, bro. How are you?
Привет. Неплохо. Good, man. Just getting to the office, juggling calls. We'll leave on tour in a couple of weeks, so it's a clusterfuck at the headquarters.
Oh,
tell us a little bit about the tour real quick. I was kind of telling these guys.
You know, it's really good for this one and shit. Like, we're going back to what we were doing pre-COVID, because for a while and shit, like when the, you know what I'm saying, music started first coming back, you couldn't do multi-headliner packages because, you know what I'm saying, there just wasn't enough people or money to do that. So this package, it has Light, it has Hoodoo, it has Clay, it has myself. So it's a 4-headliner fucking package, which we haven't done since like Access Family as far as us. I mean, we always tour, but you know, COVID kind of fucked all that up. So it's going to be a kind of like an all-star fucking juggalo horrorcore fucking lineup and shit. And we're right now, I think we're sitting at like 22 or 23 stops and shit. So we're going to be gone the whole month. And just fucking go out. It's get done right in time for all the summer festivals, because we do a lot of, you know, annual shit during the summer. So we're going to be gone the whole May, come back, and then get into the fest season.
That's dope as fuck.
Yeah, what I was telling these guys, kind of what I was kind of watching during the Cleveland set, when I met you and stuff, was you were up front, like supporting the supporting acts, and you just don't see that from somebody doing it at your level, really.
Hey, brother, I've been a supporting act and shit, and I feel that fucking sometimes, man, like, you never know and shit, like, you might fucking, we're not talent scouting and shit, I got a full roster, but at the same time, fucking, you never know, you know what I'm saying, who is gonna do what and shit, like, and fucking it's whack as fuck when people are like, I remember performing with you, and you're like, I don't, because I didn't watch your set. You know, if you're there, man, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's hard to fucking be that dude that fucking, one thing is like you're pulling up late, you know what I'm saying, like you're driving for 12 hours to get to a show and shit, you get there, you fucking set up, sound check, go on stage, but you know, if you're already there and shit, like, you know what I mean, like fucking support the scene that supports you. It's kind of fucking whack when people won't do it.
Right. I feel that completely. That's one big thing that we do out here now, is that we pay the performers. Like even the supporting acts are getting paid. You know, everybody who's on the bill is getting paid. But the one deal is you stay till the end. You support every other.
I respect that. Dog, there's nothing worse than fucking playing a show and you're waiting and waiting and waiting for your slot and shit, fucking, you know what I'm saying? And you're watching every fucking performer go up, take their like little 2-car loads of people as soon as they're done and be like, all right, we're out. And then wonder why. They're like, I don't know why people don't book me or why people don't want to work with me. I'm like, you know, fucking, I remember we did a little comedy video fucking skit and shit like years ago on the Unsubs tour with Insane Poetry fucking, and you know, it was like, here's what happens fucking to CDs and shit handed to us by support acts as they're leaving the venue before our set. Like, ain't nothing worse. Be like, all right, well, I'm going to dip out and shit. I'm not staying for your shit, but check me out. You're like, something to scrape fucking mud off my boots with. Yeah.
I feel it completely. Another topic, we kind of go in order about, you know, like the topics and stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show. I just hit him up last night, so he's kind of new to it. We kind of go around the little circle of people that we have in here and just kind of voice opinions and, you know, kind of go off that. And it's something this kind of common. This kind of common with the show. We'll start with Jake. Jake, what do you think about the pay-to-play shows? As far as local or opening, it's.
I don't know if I want to do this again, man.
No, it's an interesting subject. You know, I'm actually interested to hear y'all's opinions because I am a venue owner and I am, you know what I'm saying, like I have done 23 national tours, so I am interested on the opinion on that subject because it's very different from person to person.
Yeah, so my opinion's changed since the last time we talked about this, listening to you guys. In your sides of it, I still have the stance of like they're my services, like you should be paying for my services as a performer. That's 100% ingrained into how I feel about it. However, you talking about for bigger headlining acts having the offer of like, if you want to pay me this amount of money to get on a show with this big headliner, whether it be, you know, Wu-Tang shit or whatever, I don't know. There's a place for that. It seems pretty clear to me now that's a way to make money for sure, right, for somebody.
Chad, what do you think about the pay to play? I know I've heard this one from you a couple times.
Oh shit!
Still fucking hate it. Just making sure.
Yeah, you know, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, man, like. There needs to be a revamp in the industry somehow, some way, because like, I mean, I understand when promoters want people to play, to pay to play, you know, to cover their bills. But again, from a promoter standpoint and an artist standpoint, because I do both, as a promoter, you gotta be willing to take the risk, you know, to book a show. And you know, and don't bank on the opening acts or whatever to bring people, you know, because I mean, in all reality, you are banking on the headliner to bring all the people, you know. So from a promoter standpoint, like me, I would never ever ask anybody to pay me to be on one of my shows. But like from an artist perspective, the only way I would pay to play would be like with some, like at a show or a festival where there's going to be like 10,000 people or more, you know, because then I have an opportunity to reach the masses and also sell merch. Because quite frankly, like even if you're playing at a venue where there's only like maybe 100 people there, and let's say I'm the first or even the second dude up on stage, you know, how many people are actually in the building that would be interested in even buying your shit?
Right. There's one notorious that I've heard kind of horror stories, but it might be better now. I don't know. I've never played there myself. It's only just what I heard. There's one in particular in Detroit where they would throw acts on before the doors even open. And it's like these guys paid to play, and lhey, there's people just coming in.
And you must be talking about Harpo's.
Yeah, I didn't say it.
Hey, me and old Ernie. I mean, Ernie is no longer here, but me and Ernie go like, you know, we had our fair words. about that same subject when I played in metal bands.
Right.
I say, dude, how is that even right? Charging bands $100 and they're playing while the main band is still setting up, like the headliner's still setting up on the main stage. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
That guy who charged me $10 to get in, would you consider that? Would you consider that a pay-to-play situation?
BBG, what do you think? Pay to play, whether it's for local or major. What's your opinion on it?
All right, so Jake and Mr. The Ha here have both touched on pretty important topics as far as where my stance is, and I guess the simple way is it's really got to be worth it. For example, let's say Scum over here he's got a show coming up in Detroit, and the opening acts are, I don't know, he charges $50 to perform for them to perform. I'd say that's pretty well worth it because that's taking my career as an artist to the next level. But if it's a local thing where there's no major headlining, I think paying to play seems, I don't know, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yep. And I agree. But one thing that I'm a really big fan of, though, is like it's technically kind of paying to play, but it makes the artists work their ass off for it. I know Verso Group and Innovation Concerts, they used to be out in Toledo. They're no longer, but what they would do once in a while for certain shows, I'm guessing they had maybe a bigger bill on the headline artist, is that they would be like, hey, it's $200 up front, but we're going to give you $350 worth of tickets. Go and move these. Because that's putting asses in seats. That's your opportunity to make money. That's what I'm a fan of as far as the major side of things.
Okay.
One thing that I really couldn't hate on it. I got booked at the Blind Pig with Chris Webby in like 2011 or something like that. And they were like $200. I'm like, well, Chris Webby's going to attract a crowd. I still got fans from that show. And they're like lifelong fans because our music was similar in a way at that point in time. At the same time, you know what I'm saying? I knew the room was going to be packed. There was probably like 400 motherfuckers in there. So I was like, all right, I take a hit. I didn't know about ASCAP BMI, so I didn't make nothing back. I didn't have merch at the time, which was unsmart of me because that was another way to make that money back. But I still got the exposure to people out there that still listen to my shit. We're 11 years later now. They're still, hey, when you got new shit dropping. So, I kind of see a little bit paying for a local showcase. If there's no tickets involved, that's a no-go. I just couldn't do it. Scum, what's your opinion on it?
I have a very okay. So if we're not in a super hurry, I'm going to give you two sides of it because one is going to come from an artist, one is going to come from a venue owner, which is what I do in my other time. So as far as fucking pay to play, quick question just to define what you're saying. Like you're saying just charging for a slot, not giving them tickets to make their money back or make a profit, but just charging them for a fucking slot.
Yep.
Okay. As far as that and shit, I'm way with you as far as like what you were saying and shit. We normally would say, hey, fucking, you want to get paid? You're saying you're gonna bring people, cool. Like $200. Here's fucking $300 or fucking $400 worth of tickets and shit. You know what I'm saying? You get paid, we get paid because we have the overhead and shit to pay. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking people have to accept because a lot of the times feel like, well, why should I sell tickets? I'm like, well, okay. As a venue owner and shit, fucking, and with current wages going up throughout the country and fucking overhead costs, it costs me, say, $250 an hour to run a show at my 500-seat fucking all ages venue. Right. So if it fucking, say it's a band, not even a rapper and shit, fucking, well, the band, even if you give them a 20-minute set, is really a 40-minute set because it's at least 10 minutes to set up and break down. So you're costing me $200 to perform. And if you bring nobody, you're literally just costing me. Yeah. Now, and I also believe that, like, okay, as far as I'm with what the guys said and shit earlier, if it's a flat fucking like, no, you don't get no tickets to sell, you're just fucking paying for a slot, it has to be worth it and it has to be above your current, like what you would get on your own. So basically, like, motherfuckers will drop fucking $200 on a Facebook ad to promote their new single. Well, how's this any different and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like fucking that Facebook ad is only going to reach maybe like fucking, you're paying, I think 50 cents a click. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you're spending money to promote your music, whether you put out a fucking ad in a magazine and shit, whether you fucking sponsor a YouTube video, everything costs. So if you're like, hey, normally fucking at my current level of popularity and shit, I play little bars, which it's not a bashful thing. That's where I started. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of shithole fucking bars in my fucking life and shit. And you're like, yo, I get an opportunity to play at a fucking, 3,000 seater fucking venue and shit, fucking on a big stage with a fucking $100,000 sound and shit. Then it is worth it, because basically I feel that you're jumping ahead of what you would normally get, and you're paying to skip the line. Hey, if Disney World can fucking sell you a fucking $100 upgrade to skip the line, you as a rapper or as a, musician in general and shit, are paying to skip the line to get an opportunity that you normally wouldn't get with your current following and current status. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it and shit. I feel it has to be within reason. And like you guys said, if it's a fucking local showcase, you better be like giving them a fucking cut of every person they bring through the door, because that's what, bars do. Is they're like, who are you here to see? Okay, cool. Fucking $5 to so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's not, there has to be a difference. You're buying onto a fucking national tour and shit. You're doing this for exposure and shit, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, you obviously, like, if you've never played out of state and shit, no, you don't really deserve to be on a fucking national tour yet. You know what I'm saying? But you're paying for the exposure. When I started touring, there was no buy-ons and shit, as a matter of fact, but the game was different, and it still costed you. They'd be like, all right, cool. You don't have the following to justify putting you on this tour. We're not going to ask you for $3 or $4 grand and shit to be on this tour. We're going to ask you to pick up 6 shows. And you pick up the 6 shows and you're on the whole tour. Well, I picked up the 6 shows and shit. I lost my ass on all of them except for the hometown one. So it costed me fucking the same as it would, like, you know what I'm saying, as it would nowadays in the general mentality. That they say back in the day, they're like, well, fucking, punk rock bands never fucking charged a fucking support act to go fucking open for them. No, but they didn't let them fucking travel with them either and shit, and fucking, you know what I'm saying, they didn't share a fucking hotel room with them. So they'd be like, cool, you're rolling on your own, you're following the tour, you're spending fucking the gas, you're, renting a fucking van, you're fucking getting your own rooms. It's going to cost you a whole lot more than if you were like, hey, these guys let me roll with them and shit, stay with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's just so many angles. I think there's no right and wrong answer for this. Like, everything the guys said is right. It applies to it has to be a situation that's worth it, and you got to analyze it case to case. I think certain shit, you know what I'm saying, when they do showcases and you get to play one song and it costs you fucking $300 to play one song and shit, like, right. Fucking that shit is stupid. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something that you're like, yo, it's worth it for my career and exposure and shit, and fucking it's something I couldn't get without throwing some bread on it, ain't nothing wrong with it and shit. You're paying for advertising. If fucking the one thing I can't stand, and I fight it, and I've been a part of tours that did that, and I'm super against it. I feel if a show, and that's the third, and I'll shut the fuck up, but it's like, I'm just giving you guys perspective from each one. So as a tour, a lot of tours will go and fucking be like, all right, well, fucking, there's 6 locals on this show and shit, and each one has to sell 30 tickets and shit, fucking, to make a couple of bucks and fucking play. But we're gonna fucking take one local who don't want to fucking put in the work, and we're gonna sell them a slot fucking right before the tour, right after the 5 that worked their ass off and shit, for fucking $400. Now that shit I find whack as fuck. Like, I feel that buying on outside of your home market is okay, because you're trying to break into new listeners and shit, like you said about that Webby show. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to play for some motherfuckers that wouldn't have heard you otherwise. Well, if you've never been out of state before, chances are, you know what I'm saying, like, you might have to break some bread, and unless you're willing to stay local for 10 years and shit to build up the name for them to start booking you out of state and organically. But buying onto a home show and shit, you know what I'm saying, and everybody worked their ass off to bring people, and you just kind of skip the line and shit, like, that's not that cool. Not with that.
No, and I haven't done that. I've never done. I know I've done, like, in my promotion years. I've been promoting for about 16 years now. I've done the buy on slots to where you get those tickets to sell. Just because I know how local artists work sometimes. Because sometimes they literally, you don't see them post about it. They won't. Back in the flyer days, when flyers were really, really relevant, before this is when MySpace was big. I always mention MySpace on this show for some reason, but those are good days.
MySpace worked. This shit worked.
Yeah,
almost a motherfucker.
But even back then, that flyers were huge. You just threw a fucking flyer on a car in a parking lot at a college, and like people would see it, they would come. But you had people that didn't want to grind like that, so that just assures you as a promoter, you're still getting money to pay your bills, and it's up to them to make their money back and then some. That's what I'm a big fan of. I don't do it anymore. Simply like hometown here, I could pack it myself. So that's new exposure for everybody else that's on the bill, and it's just kind of complimentary. Why not? You know, we don't have any venues out here over 125, cap.
Can't confirm.
But other than that, I mean, I out of town shows, if I were to throw something like that and, get locals that maybe I don't know that I'm given the opportunity to, that'd be something that I'd be a fan of, doing the upfront, and then I wouldn't be opposed to it because then the artist is still getting paid based on their grind. That's what I'm big on. We were talking about it earlier. We kind of had the panel discussion about that earlier before you got on. But what's your preference? I know you tour a lot. I know you probably got a little bit of management involved and all that. What's your preference for a venue? Like the venue split, there was a discrepancy on a status that I had. Didn't even mean for it. I didn't even post like that. But I was talking about how venues get paid and being the owner of a venue and an artist. Personally, what do you do as far as, plan at your venue? Because I know like some they rent it out, upfront cost, and then you get the whole door, they get the bar. It's all good. Some are 50-50. Some's all door, they keep the bar. What's your preference on that?
I mean, the bar we keep regardless because, that shit goes into the general overhead. Now, granted, I come from a very expensive city, so our rent is fucking probably 3 times higher than anywhere in the Midwest. So we have that overhead, and then, just general fucking shit like, I just spent $100,000 on fucking sound upgrades. I got to make it back off that bar. So the bar is fucking, like, unless it's one of the regulars, and you give them a little bar incentive, you're like, if these motherfuckers drink, like, we'll give you blah off the bar and shit. And that's something you might work out on the side and shit because it's one of your homies and you worked with them for a while, their shows are not a problem and shit. But as far as venues, honestly, it fluctuates. It's like I said, initially, you're going to fucking just rent it and fucking, if nobody shows up, that's on you. Now, if you have history and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you build up fucking a rapport and to where you're like, oh, it's your show? Shit, yeah, we'll just split the door or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it really just depends on your relationship with the promoter and fucking, like, knowing what they're gonna bring and shit. There's a difference in genres and shit. Like, if it's a fucking, you're not gonna make dick on the bar because it's a fucking, they're bringing a fucking headliner that appeals to nothing but 16-year-olds and shit. Hell yeah, you gotta tax their ass on the rent because you're not gonna make that money that you normally need to make to fucking pay the rent and cover the fucking, staff pay. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be drinking. If it's a high liability show and shit, it's a fucking dope show, but it's an all drill lineup and shit, and somebody will probably get shot, and you got to hire a whole bunch of fucking armed security. Somewhere you got to absorb that cost. Mm-hmm. So it really fluctuates and shit. Fucking like with venues, depends on the venue too. I mean, fucking like, I feel that they have to give you some, like when you hit up a venue and they're like, we want $3,000 for the weekend and shit, like, ask them for the specs. Like, what am I getting for my money and shit? Am I getting a fucking $250,000 worth of fucking sound and, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these amenities and shit that they paid for? Or is it a fucking bar with a little fucking, 2-foot stage and shit, fucking, and a couple of fucking stand-up speakers? And you're like, well, that should be free.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to bring it up earlier. I forgot to.
What's that, bro? You can bring it up now?
Please. I mean,
but you're talking about, like, if I'm going to pay to be on a bill, I was thinking about it in a much more selfish context, but, like, if I'm going to pay to be on some, even if it's a killer lineup, if you're going to make me sound like shit, especially as a beatboxer, that exposure I'm getting is not going to be very impressive to those people that I'm being exposed to. They're going to be like, this guy's sounds are weak. I don't want to dance to this. It's not big and booming or whatever. That would be incredibly bad.
Oh, I've been there. I've been there for major shows before. Opening at a major show, and then the headliner goes down, and you're fucking blown away, and it's like, the fuck.
You got seriously shorted.
Speaking of Harpos, they used to do that shit on purpose back in the day. Like, late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s. All the opening bands that, like, if you were lucky enough and you got to play the main stage, because they always had two stages. They had the main stage, and then they had like a small side stage in the back half of the theater. And it was always based on ticket sales. Unless you done it enough to where you had such a good rapport with management and some of the bands that would frequent there, and then you didn't have to sell tickets. But yeah, they would do that shit on purpose. Like, even on main stage, and everybody's been at Harpo's at some point in their life. I'm sure Scum has been at Harpo's.
I played there and shit. Fucking, that's a scary stage to fall off of and shit. I played there in the winter, and there was water everywhere and shit from the snow melt and shit off your shoes. And I fucking slid, and I stopped like right on the edge and shit. And I was like, oh shit, this bitch is like 8 foot tall and shit. I'm gonna break my neck falling.
Whew, that's heavy.
Yeah, I mean, there are venues out there that do that shit on purpose. But
actually, it's not a venue thing. It's not a venue thing. Let me chime in, because it's kind of industry standard and shit for at least metal shows. I'm a huge fucking metal listener, supporter, fucking of many years. Yes, sir. Yes. Fucking, and like, it's how it is. I feel there has to be a certain percentage that's acceptable. Like, if I'm opening for fucking somebody, I don't know, fucking say I'm opening for ICP or something and shit, they obviously have platinum plaques and I don't. I expect my sound to be about 30% quieter, because that's just industry standard and shit. Like, when I went and seen Slayer's retirement tour and shit, like, you could barely hear Napalm Death and shit. And then by Anthrax, you could kind of hear, you know what I'm saying? And then fucking, and so forth. And do I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's fair to do like veteran bands that are, 30 years in the game like that? Not so much and shit, but it's kind of standard to where they save that extra, 30% of the lights and the extra fucking little push that you can do on the sound for that one headliner and shit. Not so much in rap. I would never do that to guys opening for us. I think that shit is wrong. But I'm just saying, in metal, it's common practice, and fucking like, some promoters that do a lot of metal shows apply that to rap shows as well.
And see, I noticed that. I've noticed that over the years when you open. Cause I had some bassy ass music at one point in time, which I do now, but back then we kind of turn up the bass for shows, because you just hear it. Like Big Sean, I opened for Big Sean like 2012 or something like that, and like every one of the opener sets, you could hear that they were adding bass to their shit, or trying to get it to bump like the headliner. But the headliner was always so much fucking louder. I've always wondered about that. So when Sean got on, you were blown away. You almost had to go outside. Your ears were almost fucking bleeding. Like, why was I like that?
I don't agree with it, but I feel for certain like bigger shows and shit, 3,000 seater venues and shit, arena shows, fucking, outdoor fucking festivals, they do always save a little bit of fucking push for the headliner, which is kind of fair, because I feel that at underground shows, and we all done some fucking like, backyard style fucking small shows back in the day and shit, fucking, okay. What happens at those? It's the opposite. The headliner sounds the worst, because they push the speakers the whole fucking night, and by the time you go on, it's overheating. You got one sub out. It's the fucking honest to God truth and shit. Like, fucking, if you're headlining a fucking, a smaller show, chances are you're going to sound the worst, because they brought those 2 stand-up speakers. Cool, one of them is going to be out by the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? The mic was kind of shorting out a little bit. By the end of the night and shit, it's really shorting out. So I feel the first 2 or 3 acts get the best sound at those. So it's kind of, it's payback for that, I guess. But I don't always agree with it. I feel the opportunity should be equal, with the exception of if motherfuckers bring their own extra lights and extra sound. Well, they paid for that shit. That's theirs.
Yeah.
Like, so say fucking, Beatbox Jake got fucking, he brought 4 extra subwoofers for the beatboxing to sound good. It's not fair of me to expect to use those, because he brought them for himself.
Yeah. It's respecting others' property in the end.
I should get some subwoofers. Holy shit.
Yeah, at that point, you spot out, you find out whose shit it is, and you go buy them a lot of drinks. You try to make friends.
Back in the day, I don't know how much it is nowadays because I really haven't been too much involved. But like back in the day, it always was like, you know, if you want to sound good, you're gonna go take care of the sound guy like the minute you walk into the bar. So
you want the bartender to pour you heavy drinks, you got to fucking tip him good and shit. You want the sound man to fucking do a little extra for you and shit. You might have to slide him a couple of bucks. You know what I'm saying? Most of the venues, they'd get in trouble for getting caught doing that and shit, but I agree with you 100%. You know what I'm saying? It's still not something unheard of.
Yeah, we were notorious for that at Frankie's back in the day because we wanted, like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Frankie's out in Toledo, Ohio.
Might have been once or twice and shit, but at least I know it's a fucking long running venue. Yeah,
they're closed right now, but back in the day we'd go up to the sound man and be like, hey man, can you hit those extra lights on stage when we're up on it? Here's 10 or here's a drink. Yeah, dude, I got you. It's like, fuck yeah. Then you build a relationship over time and he just starts doing it on his own.
Yep.
Bribery works in every aspect of life, guys.
Moral of the story here.
The sound guy at the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor, that was the first time I had somebody really detail my sound. He was having me cup the mic and like wave it in front of the monitors and shit so he could pull out all the feedback and ring it out. And that was the first time I ever experienced that. I was like, holy shit, if I ever get to go on a tour and I have a budget, I'm stealing you from this place.
Right.
Yep, I got one of those. I don't even know if he does sound anymore, but every single time, just nailed it. And that was the same person we were giving drinks to, and he was all about it. Once you build that relationship, I think that's a big thing, especially once you get bigger and shit, because then you can start building your crew up that way. You know, you build that connection with the sound man that you trust. Then you ain't got some random fucking guy running your sound, you know?
Yeah. I was like, because my style of beatboxing is very technical and busy. I was like, thanks for putting at the end of my set. I was thanks for putting up with all that. I know it's probably kind of bullshit dealing with all that going into one line. He's like, dude, the Black Dahlia murder was here last night. You're good.
Ooh wee.
Yeah.
All right, so next question, kind of from the artist and promoter's perspective, for the ones that can speak on the promoter's perspective. What have you found, present day, what have you found is the most effective thing to promote your show? Talking, you know, doing it on the internet, social media, flyers, the old school way. I found out from a recent event that actually worked. You know, what have you found most effective in promoting a show? We'll start with you, Jake.
Nothing so far. Facebook really, because that's what I use the most, and that's not at all the most effective one. But in my current situation, it is. I'm not a good candidate for this question.
What about you, Chad?
All right, Jake. Thanks. Moving on.
Like for me, my internet keeps going in and out, so I apologize if it cuts off. For me, I'm starting to find that the old school way seems to be working a lot better than this new reach bullshit that we got going on any of the social platforms. Because like on the social platforms, you got to pay out the ass just to get to the people. So, and it seems like, for me personally, I'd rather have the 20 people there that I physically have spoken with and build that reputation or that rapport right out of the get-go versus me dropping $1,000 on Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads, and people are going to follow my shit or like the shit, and after that you won't ever hear from them again. You know, like, so for me, it seems like the old school way is working a lot better than the new shit, because also the new shit is very, very plain, meaning like, okay, like if I'm going to hand you a flyer or make a phone call or even like put it into the more modern ways, like take the time and send you a personal message about a show, it actually shows the people that I give a shit about what I do, because I'm putting my time and effort into the presentation that I'm giving you. Right. You know, before they even see me, before they even see me play.
Right. And the only problem I really find with the old school promotion, I know it works like around us, but like with the show coming up in Wisconsin and stuff, I'm trying to promote and get fans out there also. It's my first time out there. I have no clue what the fuck Wisconsin's like. It's gonna be an new experience for me. So
Wisconsin's pretty awesome.
What I'm trying to figure out is how to promote that to the Wisconsin crowd. I mean, I got a couple fans out there, but it's nothing. I don't got a huge fan base. So that's where I see the social media coming in. I think that's the real benefit of that, especially like when it comes to touring and stuff. I think that it benefits because honestly, like none of our budgets are going to permit going to, going out to Texas if we have a date out in Texas. We can't just like go, hey, we're going out to Texas to go hand out flyers. No, I mean, coming from Michigan, ain't no fucking way. I mean, most of us.
Special plane ride.
That'd be what I see beneficial in the social media. I agree with especially around here, if you're doing something Toledo-wise, Hillsdale-wise, out here, Morenci wise, anything like that. Flyers definitely. I think social media definitely comes into play with the out of state to where you can't travel because I can't go 6 hours away. Just What about you, BBG? What have you found?
Well, I have to say I'm not exactly the most qualified to answer this question, but what I have seen, I kind of have to go along the lines of Chad here as well as far as like face to face. Because I've really only done the one show since I've been back in the States. So I don't know. The face to face has worked the best because it's a sincere attempt to actually try to reach out to people. You know what I mean? And people see that, especially when you present yourself as such. So that's really where I stand with that.
Scum, what do you got to add?
It's a combination of shit. I mean, socials is important. Let's be real. Everybody is on fucking social, but because Facebook is, more of a fucking rapist than fucking Ted Bundy ever was and shit, and fucking, you're not really gonna get that much, unless you have a crazy budget. Like most of the time. Yeah, I do headlining tours and all of that, but I can't afford to drop $1,000 a show on a fucking ad. I don't get paid that much. So realistically, it's the flyers I noticed and shit really don't work like that no more. If anything, they irritate people under their fucking, like we come from a generation when you leave a show and you expect 4 flyers underneath your fucking wiper. That just, it was what it was. Nowadays and shit, like people get pissed because shit jammed up their fucking wiper and shit and they're not going to come. What does work and shit, I noticed, and if you say, even if you're doing an out of state show, but you got a few cats that are down to do some legwork for you, even if you have to, like tipping the sound man, even if you're like, hey, I'm a support act on this tour, I don't get a guest list, but I'm gonna pay for 2 tickets and shit for somebody to go put up these posters for me. Posters are not very expensive to print. You put them in the right location, you put a scannable fucking, because everybody, with the COVID motherfucking restaurants went to the scannable menus and all that shit. Everybody has a scanner on their phone now. So you put a fucking scannable fucking ticket link and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking on that poster, you put the posters in the few places. You don't have to fucking print 5,000 flyers. You can print fucking 30 posters. You know what I'm saying? Most places only have that many spots where the motherfuckers that, would come to an underground show in the genre of each one of ours musics and shit fucking, you know what I'm saying? So you put it in those places, you put a scannable thing, you make a catchy fucking, poster with, try to get creative with it and shit. It's at that point, you know what I'm saying? It's creativity. If you just slap fucking, like a basic fucking, here's a picture of me, motherfuckers might not be very, very interested. Right. Make the flyer entertaining and shit. Like I miss, we're talking about fucking old school shit. Like when we started doing shows, bro, I was at a fucking Kinko's with scissors and a fucking glue stick and shit, creating fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like a fucking little flyer. As a matter of fact, hold on. Fucking,
I think Scum's about to bust something out.
No, like I'm gonna show you like an example of like fucking, here's a flyer from a show of mine from 20 years ago and shit made at Kinko's. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking, and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like you sit there and you cut all that shit out, fucking, you put something catchy on there, you fucking, like when you're on stage and you're trying to get motherfuckers out their seats and shit, there's that fine line that you walk that if you overly insult them and shit, they're going to make it a point not to fucking check your shit out. But if you don't fucking have, you know what I'm saying, that demeanor of like, you will get the fuck up out the, you know what I'm saying, like that, then they might not feel, if they don't know you, that they should pull up to the stage. So, you know, I feel posters and socials and shit fucking work. And then at that same time and shit, it is putting the right openers on the show, man, because you want to put people on there, even if you're like, yo, I'm gonna give you fucking half the ticket revenue and shit, and fucking you need that ticket revenue as a touring artist, but you're like, yo, these cats, they fuck with our music and they know who else fucks with our music here. So, you know, if you book fucking acts completely out of your element, even if they bring people, those people are gonna leave. You want to put people on the show that are gonna fucking, you know what I'm saying, like actually fit with what you do.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. I definitely agree, because I had lineups back in the day to where it was like I just wanted to give people opportunity, but at the same time, I mean, I had a little buzz going on there, like locally, and at the same time, I wasn't really limiting, like, I wouldn't say genre. I guess, you know, my music's all talking about like fuck the authority. But you got a Christian opening act. They're not going to be interested in that Christian opening act when they're there to see.
And those people won't stay for you.
No, I'd be like, what the fuck is this dude doing? But yeah, I mean, I had that at one point in time where I didn't really limit it, and now I guess, I mean, like with my most recent show lineup, all of our music kind of fit together in some sort of way, and I found that important though, because people stick around, because if they're feeling that next opening act, they're gonna stay for the rest of the show as long as it keeps going good.
Doug, there's that, you know what I'm saying, there's the term in hardcore moshing and shit, crowd killing. Well, I feel it applies to rap too, and it's fucking when the lineup is going smooth and shit, and acts are fucking dope and fucking, you know, they all fit in the same lane, and then there's that one fucking performer that everybody hates, so motherfuckers scatter and go outside for a cigarette, and then it takes 2 hours to get them back in that motherfucker. So, you know what I'm saying, you can kill the fucking flow of the show. What you said, the word that you said, lineup, is essential from the opening acts to the fucking tour support acts to the headliner. It has to be something that makes sense to entertain a person that's into that kind of music.
I guess
if you guys don't mind, like, do you review your opening acts for your tours, or is that too much to ask?
It really depends on fucking, you know what I'm saying, like, if the flyer comes out, and it depends on the local promoters and shit. If a flyer comes out with all the acts, I do try to check out, but that's why usually a lot of the times, like, say we're doing a tour, and unless I'm feeling like dog shit or something and shit, like, most of the time, you know, the rest of it will sound check and shit, and the rest of the crew will be like, all right, we're gonna go to the hotel and shit fucking till, you know, it's time to perform. And I'll be like, I'll stay behind and check out the performances, because you want to see what motherfuckers are doing, and it's more for future. So basically, like, no, you can't do shit about, because you sell the package and shit. The promoter paid you for the tour. It's up to them who the fuck they put on there. But you check out the show and shit, and you see this one motherfucker really fucking fit what you were doing and brought people and shit, and people felt him and shit, and it was, you know, commanding on stage. That's an act you request next time, or you just slide in. You know, most of the time, if it's your show, you have fucking room to squeeze in an act or two as your special guests, per se. So it's important, you know, you scout for those, and you're like, yo, I need this motherfucker on my next show. There's been shows where some of our openers are people that now are huge nationals and shit, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't bother to watch them, you know what I'm saying, I'd be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of them blew up. I mean, we've done a fucking show with Insane Poetry in Cali years ago and shit. Hobson was one of our openers and shit for that. I mean, he was a local, you know what I'm saying? That's like, fucking, so just time changes, and, you know, it's not fair to discredit. Like, I remember when I got into it, it was before MySpace. It was like the forum era and shit. So there was like forums based on every fucking interest and shit and subgenre of music you're in. And I was trying to get my first demo out, and fucking, you know, so we're talking like 22 years ago and shit. And I'm like, yo, we pressed up these CDs, you know, motherfuckers just trying to get heard and shit. Hit me up fucking with a message, send me your address, I'll ship it to you for free. I'll pay the shipping, just check my shit out. And I remember the fucking replies, so some people were all about it and shit. And, those demos go for $100 a pop now and shit because they're a collector's item. But some people were like, hell yeah, what I'm saying? If you're going to pay to ship it to me and shit and you press the CD, send it to me and shit. I'll give it a listen.
Right.
And then you had the haters. Then you had like, why should I waste my fucking time checking out another fucking booty ass horrorcore juggalo rapper, blah, blah, blah. You're like, man, fucking eat a dick and shit. Like, motherfucker just wants a chance. When I host shows, which I don't do a lot no more and shit, most of the time I do charge for it because it's still a whole night of fucking me abusing my liver. But if I'm hosting a show, I don't ask the crowd to fucking, be up front and center for every performance for the duration of the performance because let's be real, some performances are going to be pretty whack. It just is what it is. Some people like myself and shit like, yo, I got bad knees, bad ankles and shit. I can't stand on my fucking feet the whole night and shit. Fucking, what I ask from motherfuckers is give every fucking performer a chance for a song. You know what I'm saying? If they go up there and they fail to fucking, earn your time for you to check out more than the one song, they fucked up. You supported and they didn't impress you.
Right.
But at least fucking give a motherfucker a chance for a song. Let them impress you.
Right. And with that, I mean, we can go into the next question. With that, we'll start with Jake on this one. What's for your ideal lineup, your ideal show? I know you've done a lot of open mics and stuff, especially with beatbox. You're finally just now getting into really doing shows like all the time. You're getting booked like left and fucking right, and I'm so happy for you. But
thanks for getting me in.
But you're doing shows like left and right. What's your ideal count on the amount of artists that you would want on a bill to get the amount of exposure that they need? And what kind of set time would you give that for your ideal show if you were to throw one?
So, I mean, it depends on the stylings because I like variety shows,
right.
Which is not necessarily the way to do it. Because I usually think of that as more of a showcase, to be honest. But for something like if you're going to put me on a hip hop show where I'm doing beatboxing and then you've got other rappers, I think if you're going to start at like 8 o'clock at night and go till 2 in the morning or whatever, half hour set per person or something like that, and then do, I don't know, 5 or 6 performers.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Probably similar if you're gonna have me do the beatbox metal stuff and then put me on a metal show.
Right.
I would give that longer because bands, it's just kind of a different vibe. Maybe do 45 minutes or an hour.
Yep. Okay.
That's just me though. That's my opinion.
Right. And that's well, you gotta add the leeway in there. You want some time between performers, like Scum said. You're gonna have the people that go outside and smoke between performances. That's what you always got to figure in there. And like with shows, I use the term wiggle room because you always want just a little bit. You want that last set to end. If you're going till 1:30, you want it to end, or you're going till 2, you want it to end by 1:30 on paper. Because it's never going to go the way that you want it to go. 9 times out of 10, it's always either going to be behind, you're going to be way forward. And in that case, I mean, it gives people more time to smoke. And when they're drinking, some people take 2 cigarettes. It's just you got to account for the people. I do agree with the amount of acts, though. Chad, what's your ideal show as far as a hip hop show?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I've personally only ever booked like 1 or 2 hip hop shows. It's like my forte has always been EDM. And techno, that kind of stuff, and or metal.
It kind of goes hand in hand in a way, though, as far as set times. You know what? But I'm thinking
like grime music is techno related.
Yeah, but I stay away from all that stuff, like the whole like dubstep and grime and all that. Nah, it's really not my cup of tea. But like ideally, like me personally, and even from my old band days, I no more than 6.
6.
Yeah, like I don't, even seeing flyers that have like 20 names on them, I'm like, no, there's gonna be a clusterfuck. It's gonna be a clusterfuck of a show.
I mean, from 8 to 2, yeah, that's one of the things. I'm just like, man, especially like I could relate to it because I hate that shit as an artist when you show up and there's fucking 30 artists on the bill and you're like, I get a whole whopping 12 minutes. You can't really even develop a set, or I mean, it's a first. You can develop a first impression, but they might be more intrigued to check you out. But I don't know. What do you prefer the set time as far as that goes?
I would have to agree with Jake on this, like half hour. That'll give you a good solid foundation to highlight yourself, especially if you are a opener. It gives you an opportunity to turn some heads, like Scum was saying earlier, because not everybody's going to be there right when you first start playing. It gives you 6 or 7 opportunities to turn somebody's head and potentially get them interested. 30 minutes, you're going to do about 6 or 7 songs tops, in between talking and, trying to get the crowd involved and all that. But like if it's bands, no more than 5, because you're going to have that 10-minute, changeover, unless space permitting, you can backline everything, where all you have to do is just move the microphones from one amp to the next. Right. Then you can, shorten the set times to, change over times to like 5 minutes, unless you got a drummer that has like 20 different drums up there that need to be moved, but it happens.
That's one thing I'm kind of, what were you saying? My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying, like, probably like 30 to 45 minutes, I think is sufficient.
Okay, BBG, what you got? What's your ideal?
So, I would say probably 6 artists max, maybe 25 to 30 minute sets each. And the reason I say that is because I actually went and saw Suicide Boys and G59 at the Grey Day tour back in October down in Columbus. And it was a live set the whole time through, but it was just too many artists. They had like a lineup of like 9 or 10 people, including a band that's not even part of G59's Turnstile. And it was actually a crowd killer because nobody didn't really care to hear them because they didn't fit with the group. They didn't fit with the whole show. So, like I said, 6 artists, maybe 25 to 30 minutes.
I definitely agree. With what Scum said earlier as far as lining up. The lineup is what matters when it comes to that. And like I said, wiggle room. I love the wiggle room idea. I learned that very early on as to, book artists that are similar. You always want to give artists an opportunity. Like if you have somebody that just wants the opportunity, that's something, put them on first just to get their feet in the fucking water. It might not be their thing, but I mean, as long as they're fire, put a quality act on at what they do that may be a little bit different. But you don't want to put somebody in the middle of that type of lineup. You line up the same type of music the whole time. But you have somebody who, has more of an R&B vibe at, you know what I'm saying, a show with underground type music at it. You don't want that right in the middle of the fucking thing. That sets the whole vibe off. And that just kind of ruins, the rest of the night, besides, the people that they came to see at the end of the night. If you have a headliner, if it's not a local show. I definitely agree with the 25 to 30 minutes. What do you think? What's your ideal?
Myself, honestly, I agree with everything you guys said except for the duration of time. I feel like with bands, yes, opening bands should get about 30 minutes because there's 5 motherfuckers trying to impress you and showcase their skills. I feel with rap and shit, until you get to at least direct support of like the couple of main acts for the show, because even if it's a local showcase, there's somebody who is the main attraction. Right. I feel it depends on the day of the week and shit, because you guys are saying go till 1:30, which is perfect on a fucking Saturday. Yeah. But on a Tuesday, you know what I'm saying? That by midnight, motherfuckers are going to start clearing out, be like, man, I got to work tomorrow and shit. So it's unfair to the last acts at that point and shit. I feel with rap and shit, I'm a whole lot more cruel. I feel 15 to 20 minute sets is more than sufficient, because as a rapper, you don't have to do full songs. If you really are trying to showcase your shit, you can do, couple of verses, couple of hooks, or even a verse and a hook and shit. And like, I've learned that shit from being a big fan and supporter of King Gordy over the years and shit. He never performs full songs. I don't fucking like, you'll catch 2 full songs on my whole fucking 45-minute set. Everything else is fucking bits and pieces because I have 23 albums. I want to showcase different bits and, you know, different things that people want to hear. And full songs for a metal band, yeah, you're doing a whole fucking song and shit. For a DJ, you're doing a whole fucking composition. You kind of have to and shit. But for a rapper, with the attention spans nowadays, I mean, we went from albums being 75 minutes and shit, fucking, you know, back in the day, to an average fucking full length being 20 minutes now. Attention span is shit, and you shouldn't do a 5-minute song live as a rapper and shit. You should absolutely, until you're like, if you're headlining and shit and it's a song that fucking got 10 million fucking views and shit and people know the lyrics to and they want to hear the whole thing,
Right.
Give them bits and pieces and shit of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. So I feel like 15 minutes as a rapper to impress the crowd, I can squeeze in fucking 10 songs into that shit. And if you fail fucking to impress them with those in the show, it's on you.
Yeah, it's kind of. I see your opinion from that. I've never put my sets together like that, but I do see what you're saying. As far as you're kind of giving them what you're giving. We've always said it's kind of like a business card, but in this case, kind of a movie trailer to your album.
Absolutely. Well, and plus and shit, like fucking, you know, when they're pretty much what you said about somebody not fitting. Well, say motherfuckers are not feeling that person. They might fucking go smoke a quick cigarette and come right back, but they come back and that motherfucker's still on stage, and they go smoke another cigarette and they come back and that motherfucker's still on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, by that time, they might just lose interest and either bounce or just fucking go outside and fucking get a bottle and shit and not be back till the headliner.
Yeah, I feel it. I've never heard that perspective, and that's something that I got to take into account for like my upcoming sets. I mean, I have a couple of like 15, 20-minute sets coming up. You know, like when I'm at home, close to home, it's normally about 30 to 45. But that's people that know my shit. You know, with something coming up next weekend for myself in a state that I don't know, that's something that I could really use. You know, maybe bring people in, give them the movie trailer of my music to. You know, I've never heard it from that end of things. I guess I've never seen it that way. Jake.
What's up?
Yo.
What you want? Can I there was this interesting thing when I did the KRS-One show. He did this interesting thing, even being the headliner, where he would start a song and then yell at his DJ to stop, and then start a new song. Yell at him to stop, like do like the verse and then tell him to stop, and like that's not what they want to hear, and then like tease the audience and eventually get into like a big hit like Sound of the Police or something.
I think that's ingenious and shit. Fucking, I think that shit is smart as fuck because you're doing exactly what we're saying. You're showcasing some of the other songs that people might want to hear, but not enough people want to hear the whole fucking song to lead up to something big and fucking that you're playing in its entirety. That's fucking smart.
Yeah, you're giving them enough to be like, what the fuck was that? And then give them something they know.
Yeah.
Give them what they came for. But then they're like, what was that other thing?
And they might have really liked that other thing and shit, and now they might go look up that song and listen to it in its entirety, and you might give new life to a fucking song that got slept on.
That's the teacher. That's the teacher for you.
That's something I guess I've noticed over the years, like going to major shows and stuff, but never took into account like that might be like I never understood like having your own DJ on tour when there's always local DJs, and you know you want to take them sometimes, but having your own DJ on tour, you know, you can tell him like, hey, cut that shit. And he'll know right away, you know, hit that, they're not feeling it. Or, you know, he might just hit it just cause. Is that something kind of industry, is that?
Having your own DJ, I mean, it's like fucking, you know what I'm saying, being in a band and shit. A live drummer is better than a drum machine and shit, fucking, you know. A DJ does, especially if it's somebody, not somebody you just hired for the night and shit, but somebody that actually you rehearse with and fucking, you know what I'm saying? You guys can come up with all sorts of shit. You know, certain artists without a DJ and shit wouldn't be right. not everybody needs a DJ necessarily and shit. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, yes, that adds your show extras. You know, what you're saying is, you know, the extent that you utilize the DJ. If all your DJ does is hit play for you, well, the sound man can do that. You don't really need one. But if you guys are actually doing some shit together, then fuck to the yeah.
Hell yeah. I feel that.
Oh man! I mean, just to elaborate on that whole thing. I mean, it's kind of like a lost art anymore. You know, like let's look at '80s bands, for example, or even like '80s and '90s pop music. They all had a gimmick of some sort. You know.
Oh, you cut out, brother.
Buffering.
Well, that's it for the show, everybody.
No.
I'm sorry.
You're back.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you know, like comparing it to like the 80s, 90s, and maybe even early 2000s when everybody had some sort of gimmick per se, you know, like stage shows has been like a lost art anymore. It seems like, I mean, even with national bands anymore, or even national rappers. I mean, it seems like everybody's doing the same shit.
Yeah.
That's true. That's one of the things. Like, Jinx opened for you the night that I went out to Cleveland and seen you, and he was telling me, he's like, "Dude, this is gonna be different for you," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've been to 1,000 fucking rap shows. This is gonna be different for you." All right, so I kind of go in with an open mind. And just seeing how that was compared to like going to the mainstream shows and how it was ran, I guess you could say, and how everybody was supportive of each other, and I don't know, the
different show, different energy.
Yeah.
What I really like about what you guys are doing here and shit is you got motherfuckers in different demographics and shit, fucking with probably completely different music tastes and shit, fucking giving their take on the same subject. I love what you guys are fucking doing because, you know what I'm saying, it's not fucking 5 horrorcore rappers talking shit about how the genre is dying.
And we're all open-minded. Like the one thing about the podcast that we really like started everything on was nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's all kind of coming together to inform everybody, you know, on the outside of the opinions that are going on and how we feel about different shit in the industry.
No, that's dope, and nobody is right because if we're representing different scenes and different sub movements within fucking even like similar scene, we all will have a different approach to the same thing, and we're not wrong. It just might apply to fucking the shows that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is a rapper. Not everybody is fucking, you know, even in the same rap subgenre. So things that work for an EDM show versus things that work for, you know what I'm saying, an old school hip hop show and shit versus things that'll work for something new and trappy and shit, like all different things.
Right. And then, like what I was getting at with the underground comment though was, you know, everybody's doing things the same. There really wasn't 2 artists that sounded the same in that lineup. That for my first underground rap show, like, you know, I've never experienced that. Normally you hear the same shit when you go see like a big show or even a local showcase around here. It's almost one and the same. You're hearing the same song over and over and over and over again to a different baseline. I was a big fan of that. I was a huge fan of that because you never hear that. Not since like my early days in hip hop. I have not. It's always the same type of shit. I think everybody's kind of conformed with the mainstream mindset, and I fucking hate it.
Right.
Well, you know, just to elaborate, just to elaborate on your comment about how you know, there's 5 of us today, all from different backgrounds, all from different genres and different interests, and we all have played big shows, small shows, backyard parties. And you know, some of us have been signed in the past. Some are going to be at some point. You know, there is no magic formula in this business. You know, if that was the case, then there would be a million more of us trying to do this shit. You know, and we would be a lot more successful if there was a magic pill or a magic dollar or a magic website that we can go to and just pay a little bit of money to get to the top.
Right. And there's all different formulas to get there. It seems like, I mean, there's industry standard, but everybody uses kind of a different path, which I think I preach to like younger artists. I'm like, be different. You always want to be yourself and be different, because you don't want to be the guy that follows in the footsteps of, like modern day Juice World. Everybody wants to sound like that. Everybody has a lot of auto tune on their shit. And I'm like, dude, if you create something different, go against the grain. If you create that trend, that's how the M&Ms get as big as they do, because there was no M&Ms when Eminem became Eminem. There was no Juice World before Juice World was, widely known. You got to go in that direction. Tech Nine's another one. He set his own lane, went his own way, and now he's one of the most successful people in hip hop.
You're never going to be the next anybody. You're going to be the next you.
And I feel like nowadays that's why people get on the radio, they get mainstream, they get huge, and then they fall off because they just followed somebody else's footsteps. And now it's just like, it's not a trend no more. So what are you going to do now? You got to set the trend, not go with the trend, I guess you could say. That's something that I like preaching towards, newer artists.
I mean, let's bring it on to Scum here. You've been doing this how long now?
22 years, 23 years.
Okay. So you fall into like a certain genre of rap.
It's horrorcore and shit, and fucking, for years I fought the stamp because horrorcore was like fucking, the plague stamp and shit. The second you said you're a horrorcore artist, they didn't think Flatliners or Brother Lynch hung. They thought the fucking, corny, overweight, fucking 16-year-old and shit wearing tights, fucking taking pictures with a painted face and a fucking, chainsaw in the woods. So we fought the stamp, but at the same time, I consider myself a horrorcore artist. I do horror entertainment and shit. Fucking, I think the difference, like I'm very honest that it is entertainment and shit. Like some of the funniest fucking hater comments that fucking I read, like, like Mr. Zipper Face video, I got in a lot of fucking shit for sticking a baby in the oven. But, like fucking, the oven wasn't even on. I love babies. I'm a grandfather and shit, for fuck's sake. But anyway, fucking, some of the fucking funny shit to me was like when motherfuckers like, Scum's fucking fake. He doesn't really eat babies. I'm like, I'm fake as fuck. I don't eat babies. And shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the fact that people would expect you to is
but that's the whole point that I'm trying to get to is you fall into a certain genre of rap. Okay. But
Absolutely.
To me personally, and I've listened to you for many, many years. And there ain't nobody out there that comes anywhere close to what you do. I mean, there are some that are close, but like to me personally, I think you take the title. So
I appreciate it, brother. But I feel that like every artist has their own sound, man. Like I'm a fan of fucking so many artists myself and shit. What you was talking about earlier and shit is like you don't want to sound like somebody else. There's nothing wrong with being influenced. We're all influenced by somebody, every single one of us and shit. There's somebody, it doesn't even have to be in our own lane, but you're like, yo, I would have never fucking done music for a living and shit if not like I moved to this country and shit. I didn't speak no fucking English, and 2 weeks into it I went seeing this Biohazard, Machine Head and a Slayer show and shit, and that shit blew my wig, and I was like, yo, I want to do this for a living. This is fucking great. that was my concept of America, the land of opportunity. I'm like, I'm gonna do music. And just because, I was that impressed. So we're all influenced, but yeah, always try to do you, because a copy will never be as successful as the original. And when the original falls off, at least they remember them as they used to have a couple of hits, you know what I'm saying? And this dude is just somebody that sounds like somebody that fucking fell off. No point in it, do you?
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. We're going on close to 2 hours now, guys. That means YouTube's going to cut off. We'll be able to stream no more. I do appreciate you all for stopping into the podcast tonight, especially you, Scum, man. fucking.
No, it was a pleasure chopping it up with each one of you and shit. This was something really interesting format wise and shit, and I'd be super down to partake in something like that again because everybody in here has opinions, and trust me, I listen to them. I'm not just like one of those motherfuckers that like I'm gonna speak mine because it's the law. I've been doing this so long. It doesn't fucking matter because all of you guys' opinions are based on the subgenres and shit that you do and shit. Fucking, we all are gonna do different shows. We might be performing one day and shit. Fucking 5 different shows in 5 different fucking cities, yeah, the same fucking time, same day. So it's very interesting, you know what I'm saying, to compare opinions and shit, being all musicians, but you know what I'm saying, representing different sounds, having different fucking influences and shit, fucking different age groups. You know, everybody is fucking. So it was a pleasure chopping it up with you guys. I appreciate the invite and shit. Sorry I joined a little late. Like I said, I'm fucking 2 weeks before tour and shit. It's a clusterfuck, but it was dope to fucking get to participate in this.
We always do our send-offs at the end of the show. We're gonna start with Jake. Tell us what do you got coming up show-wise? What do you got on your plate right now?
Well, I'll be at the Polish Ostrich again, thanks to T-Jax on the 29th. Cody will be playing as well, and Kool-Aid Cam will also be playing. After that, I'm not sure what I've got going on. I've got some stuff coming on. But, yeah, thanks for having me on the show again.
Very nice.
Chad, what you got? What you got coming up? I know you got a show next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday, W4 Fest in Adrian, Michigan at the Adrian Armory. Super cool venue. It used to be an old military armory. You know, I mean, it's in the name, but they've turned that place into a huge event center, and they're actually bringing a big city production company in to put an EDM show on. So, and then after that, I got some like weddings and stuff to DJ, and then on May 28th, in my hometown for Spring Smash, another big deal. It's gonna be a kick-ass time.
Shout out to DJ Brody for throwing that together. That's gonna be freaking sweet. BBG, what you got coming up? I know you got Spring Smash too.
Yeah, I'll be there with you guys, man. It'll be awesome getting to see you guys and finally getting to meet you, Chad. I know we were supposed to meet at Cody's show, but apparently you got sick, which is a shame. But it'll be really cool. Looking forward to seeing you. Shallow Grave, we've got a couple big collabs coming up. Then our next big event is Spring Smash. By the way, for Scum, I'm also looking forward to whenever you end up working with Worm again, because that song Snuffed is bad fucking ass. Gage showed me that song not too long ago, man. Shit was filthy. So I hope you guys work again soon.
Definitely, man. That video was shot with my fucking phone because somebody who set up the video shoot Worm did not bring a camera and shit. So the entire video was shot on my fucking cell phone.
Hey, it worked though, because that song's still hard as fuck.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Scum, I know you got a lot coming up. Let people know what you got coming up, man.
Yo, Rock the Dock tour kicks off and shit on the 28th of April. Fucking, so we're gonna be on the road for a month. We got fucking like so many different cities. Please, pretty much there's the tour. Then I'm coming back. We're fucking finalizing the surprise collab album and shit. Then we got 5 different festivals we're confirmed for. If anybody listening and shit is into this fucking, the type of shit that I do, since I know it's not for everybody, but check me out. Be it, I know it's corny and shit. I know social media, but like Instagram or Facebook /ScumLSP, we always post shows and shit. We always drop updates. Half the time, I don't even know what the fuck, they're booking me on. But I just know that we're confirmed for 5 different festivals with really dope lineups for this summer. And I know we got this tour coming up. Come party with us and shit. Just come say what's up. Fucking, I go on the road to, I got kids, I got grandkids. I'm a very fucking domesticated type of creature in fucking my other life. So I go on the road to, mingle with my people and shit, meet people. So just, check out what's coming up. If there's something near you, come fuck with us.
And if you see him at the bar, buy him a Jaeger shot.
Actually, I'm trying to work on that and shit. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? I love Jaeger. It flows through my veins and shit, but I'm really trying to drink less before my performances and shit. Fucking like, you know, that 5 years of fucking drinking hard liquor is catching up, and it's hard for me to say no. So, if anything, yes, please buy me a Jaeger shot, but do it after the set.
Do it. Hey, I follow protocol.
Yeah.
And for me, not to be selfish on my show, but next weekend, Portage, Wisconsin, Beer Barrel, next Friday, and then I will be in Toledo on the 29th of April. Then I know May 14th I'll be in Springfield, Missouri, at the Kiss Lounge, I believe it is. So check me out if you want to. If not, cool. But I'm gonna bring you some dope hip hop. Thank you guys for joining in. I know Dustin just got out of here for some reason. That his connection must have fucked up or something.
Spring Smash is 28th, right?
28th or 29th, one of the two.
Yeah, I'm playing the 28th. Spring Smash.
Yeah, that's
also,
it's all on the 28th.
Okay. Also, my EP, Beatbox Metal, is out on everything. If you like metal and you like beatboxing, that's what it is. So.
Well, what's your Spotify fucking link? And I actually like beatboxing and I do like metal, so I'd like to hear it.
Yeah. So Jacob Allen Gibson is what it's under. I'm trying to get it changed to Beatbox Jake, but I'm not familiar with DistroKid, so I'm working on it because Beatbox Jake is just so much easier to remember than my 3 fucking name.
Jacob Allen, hold on. I'm writing this down because you got me intrigued and shit. I have not heard metal and beatboxing mixed. So
yeah, it's literally just beatboxing and like Slayer riffing at the same time. So Jacob Allen Gibson Beatbox Metal. Okay. Allen is ALAN.
Oh, 1 L. Okay. No, I'm actually looking forward to hearing it and shit, fucking, because you know what I'm saying. That see, just the description of the music and shit got me intrigued. I'm like, that sounds different. I ain't heard that and shit. So looking forward to hearing it, brother.
I've never seen anybody else do it. So
the dude is a genius.
He is.
That's all I'm gonna say. Jake is a genius when it comes to beatboxing.
I look forward to hearing it and shit, you know what I'm saying? That's a fucking much underappreciated fucking art form and shit fucking that I respect to the fullest.
Well, we're going to end the night tonight. I would like to thank you guys for joining up with me. Dusty's gone now. BBG is gone. I'm going to play our single from the album that we're shooting a video for. I plan on it in the next couple of weeks. Dusty, if you're listening, shout out. BBG, you are the shit for this hook. And thank you guys for joining. It's been the Cody Live podcast.
Sure.
To that bitch and test I best. Now me talking out your neck on red dots. Guess now you talking all that gun shit is bullshit. Headshot, you flat line on the black top. 6 feet my deep with my dogs. Shadow breaks, freezing points at the fall. All these kids build my sons, I'm not involved. The John Kitty tree is where I let them fall.
Turn back, snap back, here with the headphones. Squad on the outside, bitch, I ain't been gone. Bitches like you got me stuck in the friend zone. Don't expect retaliation, motherfucker, you damn wrong. Fool, motherfucker, you a fool, motherfucker. Keep talking and I put you in the news, motherfucker. You a cool motherfucker, you a soul motherfucker. Now you want a shirt, put you in a two, motherfucker. Look, all your little friends, man, they tell me you so fly. Bitch, I got this 4-5, you gotta show life. See a plain as day, little bitch, cause you gon' fight. Hit him from the back with that 4-5, you know style. Man, I'm proud, stand alone with the stout. Got a couple empty hands and I'm holding them out. You be chillin' with your mans, all you know is the clout. I hear another smart remark and bitch, I'm joking you out, yeah.
Feeling to that bitch and dead stop best. Now me talking out your neck on the screen dots. Guess now you talking all that gun shit is bullshit. Headshot, you flat line on the black top. 6 feet my deep with my dogs. Shadow breaks, freezing points at the fall. All these kids been my sons, I'm not involved. The John Kitty tree is where I
Put your ass in the dirt, making mama cry. Bitch, I put in work and I'm trying to stay alive. You fucking with the turf, I ain't hard to find. Except PE, bitch, I'm on the motherfucking grind. Come on, I hear you running that over the shoulder boner holder. I'm never sober, but moving them like a locomotive. I thought I told you, your boy be giving the Cody shoulders. I leave you grounded like Folgers, cause I got no control of my mind. My head be spinning and doing a backflips. I'm pretty certain on a perk that I make a bitch fold like a mattress. See popping y'all like a back zit. I don't want the game, y'all have it. Bring it top 3, they can top me, and I'ma leave that bitch with a hat trick. See, don't mind me, I'm zoning. I'm blowing weed and open. My mental's fully broken. I'm about to lose control and
now you talking out your neck, always red dots, gas. Now you talking all that gun shit, is bullshit. Headshot, leave you flatline on the blast out. 6 feet, my feet with my dogs. Shadow rays, free some boys at the fall. All these kids been my sons, I'm not involved. The John Kitty trees where I let them fall.
Never stop, never settle. I got Henny all in my cup. I'm on top, I'm on the level, yeah. I'm tryna get to the back. Got it on lock, got it on smash, yeah. She tryna holler.